I was talking with my wife the other day about something that really frustrates me when it comes to movies. They always seem to focus on young love. You know what I mean? The first glance across the crowded room, the sparks, the butterflies, the excitement of something brand new. And yes, that is beautiful, but it's not the whole story. Because what about old love? What about the kind of love that's been through some things? The kind that's walked through storms, built dreams, and found a way to rise again? What about the love that has grown softer, wiser, deeper? Not because it's perfect, but because it's preserved. I told my wife, that's what frustrates me. The world rarely shows love that's weathered time. And she smiled and said, that's why I like The Notebook. And I thought, yeah, exactly. Because that's not a story about falling in love. It's a story about staying in love. And then I said, I also love On Golden Pond because that's what real love looks like. Aging together, learning each other, and choosing to keep showing up even when life gets hard. And here's the truth. I believe with all my heart, you are never too old to love. In fact, some of the greatest loves take a lifetime to build. You can't rush that kind of bond. You can't fake it. You can't replace it with momentary passion. Because old love, in my opinion, is sacred ground. It's the love that's cried together, prayed together, and forgiven more times than it can count. It's the love that still reaches for the other's hand, not out of habit, but because it's home. And it's the love that's learned that romance isn't always roses and candlelight. Sometimes it's sitting in silence, holding each other through grief, or laughing together over the same old joke for the thousandth time. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love God intended all along. The kind of love described in 1 Corinthians verse 13. Patient, kind, not self-seeking, not easily angered. The kind that always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. That's not the kind of love that burns bright and fades away. That's the kind that keeps burning quietly through the decades because it's fueled by something eternal. You see, young love often falls in love with the idea of someone, but old love, it falls in love with the truth of someone. It knows the flaws, the scars, the imperfections, and chooses them anyway. And I believe that's what makes it divine. Because God's love for us isn't youthful infatuation. It's steady, it's faithful, and it's patient. He doesn't fall out of love with us when we mess up. He keeps building with us, just like an old couple who never gave up on each other. So, if you're blessed enough to have someone who's walked the miles beside you, who's seen you at your best and your worst, and stayed, take a moment and thank God for that love. That's not ordinary love. That's anointed love. That's a love that mirrors God's heart. And if you're still waiting, don't lose hope. Don't think that time has passed you by. God doesn't measure love by youth. He measures it by faith. And sometimes the most beautiful love stories are the ones that start later in life, when two hearts seasoned by experience finally meet and recognize the grace in each other. Because the truth is this: love doesn't fade with age, it matures. It doesn't weaken, it strengthens. And when God is at the center, it doesn't end, it endures. So, don't ever let the world make you believe that old love is somehow less. Because while young love burns hot, old love burns holy. And that kind of love, the one that lasts, the one that heals, the one that forgives, that's the love that heaven celebrates. Truth. God bless you, my friends.